There is a quiet kind of power that rarely announces itself. It does not demand attention, applause, or validation. It grows in silence, forged through struggle, restraint, and deep inner work. Those who possess it often feel different from the world around them, not superior, but misaligned, as if they are walking to a deeper rhythm while the world rushes to noise. The ancient thinkers understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What follows are not mystical fantasies, but behavioral signs, visible in how we endure, how we choose, and how we respond. If these signs resonate, it may be because something rare is already alive within us. Sign 1. You feel a deep inner resistance to chaos, noise, and emotional excess. One of the clearest signs of being spiritually gifted is not something dramatic or mystical. It is subtle, quiet, and often misunderstood. You feel an internal resistance to chaos, not fear of it, not hatred of people, but a deep discomfort with noise, emotional excess, and unnecessary drama. Where others feel alive through stimulation, you feel drained. Where others chase intensity, you instinctively pull back. This resistance is not weakness, it is refinement. The Stoics understood this instinct well. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes shaped by what it repeatedly consents to. Those who are spiritually gifted sense, often without being taught, that constant emotional turbulence stains the mind. We feel it in our bodies. Loud environments exhaust us. Empty conversations feel heavy. Social games feel pointless. It is as if our nervous system rejects what weakens clarity. This is why you may have been labeled too serious, too distant, or too intense. But in truth, what you are resisting is not people, it is disorder. You intuitively understand what Epictetus taught explicitly, that peace is not found by controlling the world, but by mastering what we allow into our inner space. Most people seek escape from discomfort through distraction. The spiritually gifted do the opposite. We seek stillness, not because life hasn't hurt us, but because it has. Pain sharpens perception. After enough disappointment, betrayal, or emotional chaos, something inside us learns. We begin to value calm the way others value pleasure. This is not a learned behavior. It is a survival instinct refined into wisdom. This resistance also shows in how you handle emotions. You feel deeply, but you do not glorify emotional outbursts. You sense that unexamined emotion can become a tyrant. Seneca warned that unchecked passions do not fade, they rule. Those with spiritual depth feel this danger early. We learn to pause, to observe ourselves, to create distance between stimulus and response. This is not repression. It is sovereignty. Because of this trait, you may feel out of place in modern society. A culture addicted to outrage, validation, and constant reaction will naturally reject those who choose restraint. But Stoic scholars often note that wisdom has always been a minority position. What is common is rarely what is sound. This sign is often strongest in those who have endured inner storms and survived. You did not become calm because life was gentle. You became calm because chaos taught you its cost. And now your soul rejects what threatens its balance. If this resonates, understand this. Your resistance to chaos is not a flaw to be corrected. It is a signal of inner order forming, a mind that values clarity over noise, a spirit that chooses depth over impulse, and that, according to the ancient thinkers, is the beginning of true strength. We do not withdraw from the world because we are weak. We withdraw because we are learning how to stand unshaken within it. Sign 2. You naturally detach from outcomes even when you care deeply. The second sign is quieter than talent and rarer than intelligence. You care deeply, but you are no longer owned by outcomes. You still act, still commit, still give effort. But somewhere along the way, something fundamental shifted. You stop tying your inner stability to how things turn out. This is not indifference. It is discipline of the soul. Most people confuse attachment with love, ambition with anxiety, effort with obsession. But the spiritually gifted begin to sense a hidden truth. When your peace depends on results, you have already surrendered your freedom. Epictetus warned that the moment we place our well-being in what is not ours to command, we become vulnerable to every passing event. Those with inner depth feel this danger instinctively. You still feel disappointment, you still feel loss, but these emotions no longer hijack you. They pass through rather than take residence. There is a pause now, an inner gap between what happens and who you are. That pause is not accidental. It is the mark of a trained inner world. Marcus Aurelius described this state as inner citadel thinking, a place within that remains untouched regardless of external collapse. Spiritually gifted individuals begin building this citadel long before they realize what they are doing. Often it is suffering that teaches the blueprint. When you have lost enough, people, certainty, illusions, you learn that clinging only multiplies pain. So you begin to release outcomes while doubling down on principles. You show up fully, but you no longer beg life for validation. You do your work well, but you are not shattered by applause or crushed by silence. You love, but you do not abandon yourself to be chosen. This balance confuses people. Some mistake it for coldness, others see it as confidence. In truth, it is alignment. Stoic researchers often emphasize that this detachment is not passive, it is active mastery. Seneca wrote that the wise person prepares the mind for every possible turn of fate, not with pessimism, but with readiness. When outcomes no longer surprise you into emotional chaos, you gain leverage over your own reactions. This is why spiritually gifted people often move differently. They take risks others avoid, not because they are fearless, but because they are not emotionally hostage to success. Failure no longer defines them. Success no longer intoxicates them. Both are treated as visitors, not rulers. This sign usually appears after deep internal conflict. You likely once over-attached. You cared too much. You suffered intensely. And instead of becoming bitter, you refined your relationship with reality. You learned to place your worth in character, not circumstance. This is rare. Most people never reach this stage. They remain entangled in expectations, forever negotiating with life for peace. But those with spiritual depth make a quieter agreement. I will do my part fully, and I will let the universe do the rest. When you live this way, you become unshakable, not because life is gentle, but because your center no longer lives outside you. We do not abandon desire. We discipline it. And in doing so, we reclaim our power. This is not emotional numbness, it is emotional sovereignty. Sign 3. You feel increasingly out of place, but strangely at peace with it. The third sign is one many people misunderstand and some fear. You begin to feel out of place in environments that once felt normal. Conversations feel shallow. Social rituals feel performative. Noise feels heavier than silence. And yet there is no resentment in you, only clarity. This is not arrogance, it is attunement. As inner awareness deepens, your tolerance for falsehood quietly collapses. You no longer enjoy pretending, exaggerating, or competing for attention. What once entertained you now drains you. What once mattered now feels optional. This shift often arrives without warning, and it can be isolating, but it is also liberating. Stoic thinkers understood this experience well. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself that most people live unconsciously, driven by impulse, praise, and fear of exclusion. When you begin to live deliberately, friction is inevitable, not because you are superior, but because your internal compass has changed direction. You start valuing depth over approval. You notice that many interactions are built on unspoken contracts. I'll validate you if you validate me. I'll agree if it keeps the peace. But once you develop inner stability, you no longer need these exchanges. You don't argue. You don't preach. You simply disengage. And that quiet withdrawal often feels like loneliness at first. But something important happens. Instead of panic, you feel calm. Instead of desperation, you feel grounded. You realize that solitude no longer threatens you. It strengthens you. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment we stop requiring others to think well of us. Those who are spiritually gifted arrive at this realization not through theory, but through lived experience. You stop forcing yourself to belong where you must shrink to fit. This does not mean you reject people. It means you reject self-betrayal. You still care. You still show kindness. But you no longer perform. You speak less, observe more, and choose silence when words would dilute truth. To the outside world, this can look like withdrawal. But internally, it feels like alignment. Modern Stoic researchers often point out that this stage is a sign of internal consolidation. Energy once spent on social maintenance is redirected inward toward discipline, clarity, and moral focus. This is why many deeply grounded individuals seem calm but distant. Their energy is no longer scattered. You may notice that drama repels you. Gossip exhausts you. Emotional chaos no longer pulls you in. Not because you lack empathy, but because you've learned that peace is not found in reaction. This creates a strange paradox. Fewer connections but deeper ones. Less noise but more meaning. You don't need to be surrounded. You need to be aligned. Seneca warned that constant immersion in crowds weakens the soul. Not because people are bad, but because the unexamined mind is contagious. When you protect your inner state, you begin choosing quality over quantity, thoughtfully, instinctively, without bitterness. This sign often appears after periods of intense inner growth. You didn't lose people, you outgrew certain frequencies, and instead of fighting that truth, you accepted it with maturity. That acceptance is rare. Most people numb the discomfort by forcing themselves back into noise. But the spiritually gifted sit with it, learn from it, and emerge steadier than before. We do not isolate to escape. We step back to preserve what we are becoming. And once you understand that, being out of place no longer feels like exile. It feels like preparation. Sign 4. You sense an invisible guidance in your decisions. The fourth sign of being spiritually gifted is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. You start noticing that your decisions are guided by something beyond logic, beyond fear, beyond desire. It is as if an invisible hand nudges you, not loudly, not insistently, but with a quiet precision that cannot be ignored. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Those who are spiritually attuned recognize patterns, opportunities, and dangers before they appear fully formed. They make choices that feel right, even when the reasoning behind them is not immediately clear. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of trusting nature's order and accepting events as they come, noting that wisdom is recognizing what is within our control and what is not. Similarly, we begin to sense a flow in life that guides us toward growth and away from unnecessary suffering. Unlike intuition shaped by impulse or desire, this guidance is calm and patient. It does not rush, it does not force. It speaks in subtle inclinations, in moments of clarity during solitude, in the quiet voice of reason strengthened by self-discipline. Epictetus taught that the mind's alignment with virtue produces serenity. We see here the same principle. Those who are spiritually gifted follow a kind of moral gravity that ensures their actions resonate with their inner truth. This invisible guidance protects us from reckless decisions. It prevents unnecessary entanglements and redirects our focus to what truly matters. Often, we may not understand why certain paths open and others close, but over time, the pattern becomes undeniable. Like a river carving its course through the landscape, our lives are shaped by forces both internal and external that, when observed carefully, reveal an order far greater than personal ambition. To the untrained eye, this may appear as luck, coincidence, or happenstance. To those attuned, it is the quiet acknowledgement that life is not random and that we are not alone. We begin to act with a sense of assurance, a calm certainty that comes from trusting both ourselves and the invisible currents that guide us.